Hello everyone, my name is Abdallah and today I'm going to be sharing the technical preview that I'm thinking of presenting at the upcoming developer conference. So the idea here is that I want to have an end-to-end test for this website, Swag Labs. So it's just a demo website from sourcedemo.com, and my aim right now is to try to use Playwright to just logging in this application, and then we see if we have time what can we do. So just to test it out, standard user, the password is secret source. It's secret, it's a source. Don't need to save it. So maybe we can, if we have time, we can add to cart or even check the product, back to products. So we will see. Either case, let's just get started. Log out. Okay, how do you do that? So, during this small and short video, I hope, I'm going to be referencing the official documentation because honestly to say, I've only used Playwright for spikes, for prototyping, for some small demos, but not yet for really going fast, implementing end-to-end tests. And Playwright is very powerful. Actually, the first thing that caught my attention with Playwright was the default ability to do screenshots testing, or also known as visual testing. At some point, I even gave a presentation in last year's or this year's test conference. So that's good. Let's begin. So, I have an idea how it works basically, and so no, normally you when you create, let me just go through quickly through the startup, the Playwright, back to main menu, the documentation, the starting point. So you install it, then you select. By default, it will be for Node.js, it will be TypeScript, but you can also select JavaScript, which I selected. But I would recommend, unless you know absolutely nothing in TypeScript or you're not even at ease with JavaScript, then maybe you should select JavaScript. However, TypeScript is just a superset of JavaScript, so you can write JavaScript code in TypeScript files, but it also depends on your configuration, on the project configuration. For example, you want to use strict TypeScript, then you need, for example, to have types in every of your variables, methods, etc. Interfaces, for example. So I've selected JavaScript, but what I've found is that on this website, for Node.js, everything is in TypeScript. So you can choose TypeScript, it's no problem, because the official documentation is vast, it's comprehensive, and it has almost everything. Okay, for example, what's next? You write the first test, we need to import this. Normally what you want to do is to just copy paste this in um, your test to see if it's been installed well and it's working. Ideally, when you install it, when you run it, it will run the default ones in the test result here, and then you can just delete it. It's in the test example folder. Test result is for something else, and it's very powerful, that's for sure. So let's begin. I'm using nvim. Now let me create a file in the test folder. I will call it maybe since we are Swag Labs, we are trying to test this. Let's just call it swag spec.js. Okay, that's good. That's done. I just touch enter for it to go. Yes, for sure. Swag here. So it's an empty file. Okay, no problem. So the first thing we want to do is to, like we saw, we want to import test and spec. So I'm typing it, but you can just simply copy it. The only issue is in TypeScript it's going to be using import. In plain JavaScript it's going to be using require. So that's why one of the reason I uh, recommend, if you're learning this stuff, to follow the official documentation and use the default Node.js language, in this case TypeScript. So what we want to test right now is we want to buy a product. Buy, like I said, but buying a product, maybe it's a bit too much. First, what we are going to do is to no, just miss it. We are going to, let me think. We are going to modify the config. Why? Because it has the tendency to simply to launch all the tests, all the browsers, that is. So it's a bit too much browsers. Let's keep maybe Chromium. Okay, and just going to comment it. That's good. And there is also a retry strategy. So just quickly, I'm going to go through the config, the Playwright config file. So we are just defining the default config and the devices. So it's very powerful. You can also use .env to read from environment variables. So you have the default test. You can default test directory. You can put it either parallel or not. This is very powerful, especially if you are using CI. Now the forbid, I don't really know what is it. So I think it's some process env. So I think it's some environment variable. I'm not sure. So you have the reporter, HTML reporter, but I guess there are a lot of reporters right now. We can have a look at that. Maybe I will present about the reporters during the conference. As a matter of fact, though, it seems as if that so right now we have a, I didn't even notice this, you can have a base URL for your test. So this is pretty awesome. Let's say you're using Playwright for a single project with a base URL that doesn't change, so you can always use that. And then when you use the actions like when you use actions like await page go to root, it will go to this. So this is pretty good. This is very good in fact. And then you can, if you use it a lot of places, it's a bit of dry. Do not repeat yourself principle, and you can just change it at a single place and it will work. So that's pretty good, but we won't lose too much time. We need to save this file, obviously, and we won't use it any further right now. It's closing everything, I think. Yeah, so let's just let us just save that. So I'm not too used with NeoVim. I'm just trying to use it. So our case scenario right now is to buy a product, but maybe it's too much. Let's just put it. We see if I have enough time. So we start with the test. Like you see, it's similar here. Buy a product. Wow, what's happening? Buy a product on Swag Labs demo, something like that. Okay, and we need to also use include the like this is basic copy and paste how it works. In terms of JavaScript, it's using async await, which helps a lot with asynchronicity, but I won't be able to explain everything here because it's such a huge topic. So we are taking it a page element and working on it. So I think the page element is passed by, at runtime, by Playwright. I'm not sure. So first and foremost, we'll go to the demo URL. So there are two ways. You can just write it down, or you can create some variable, and let's just make it a bit more clear. That's for example, the principles of clear code. You want to make everything as explicit as possible, especially your intention. You want to make your intention as explicit. So let's just use this. Let's copy and paste. So right now you know that, okay, this is our very good. This is our demo URL, and also let's just add the username. Let's add the password. Okay, that sounds like fun. Okay, that's good. So I think there is an issue with Brave. Sideboard just appears, just locks every time. Nowadays I've just installed Opera. I think Opera is brilliant, and it even seems better than Brave by default. Okay, I've added these constants, and now we will go to the page. Await page go to. So here is the codes. Await page go to. Wow, this is going to be a hassle. Go to go to demo URL. Okay, that's good. Just ping, and then we will perhaps have an expectation. Await expect page. Similarly, no, I just miss it. To have title. Okay, this is I think a reflex. So what is the title of it? Let's see. Let's see quickly. I have this already open. The title seems to be Swag Labs. Alright, so this is our first assertion. We need to test if it's working or not. So there are several ways to check it. I'm just going to use our good friend npx playwright test headed. Don't know if it's headed. So these commands are here. I've run it a few times before, so it's on. It's as if on in my head, so it's not going to work because I didn't yet. So just cause this, I didn't save the file. That's a issue I have actually. I need to investigate how to do it with nvim to automatically save the file and focus, because I'm so used to do it with Visual Studio and of course our good friend JetBrains. So npx playwright like that, and then you mention if test, you want to run the test. We headed mean, so we are going to show the browser, because by default I think it runs in headless mode and you don't see the actual test going on, the actual web automation. So we do it headed, and we can right now have a lot of ways to test. We can use single test page, you can run a set, we can also run the file that are landing or logging in the page. We can we can I think this is generate. This is cool. I really like scaffolding. I'm not sure, maybe we test it later. You can also run tests on a specific project. So this is brilliant in my opinion. There's so many things. We are just going to use swag. Let's see if it works. Not an editor command, of course. So this, the bang is just for running using Zish. So forget about it. But my Zish doesn't inherit from Bash. So let's see if I can just move to Bash for this one. Okay, does it work? No, it doesn't. I need to. This is a technical issue, but no problem, because I'm going to fix it very quickly. We run Bash. So already you can see how my Zash looks much better than the Bash, but it's no problem at all. This is easily fixable. So we open the swag file here, and now it's going to work without any issue. I actually need, so it's running on the other screen. That's funny. That's really funny, and didn't give me the report. I don't know how to run it again, but it's so funny. Maybe I can wait a little bit, but we'll see. We have time for this. The test is running. Maybe I won't run it headed. I will run it headless by a product on Swag Lab. So the report is good. It should have given me the report, but okay, perhaps this happened. Copy. Let's just do it. I didn't paste it. Nope. Voila. So I need to paste this here. So I don't even need to. I'm actually making a mistake right now. So like we can see from the report, we have the file, now the project Chromium. Oh, maybe you can change the name. We have the description, buy a product on Swag Labs demo. 2.7 seconds, well, it's very slow. We'll see, of course. Here we have the before hooks, whatever happens. Browser, text page, and then we go to the page, and then we have the actual stuff going on, and so on and so forth. So it's not bad in my opinion. It's good. It looks fast though. So we changed that. We won't be using the command line as much, but rather we'll use the built-in here. We call that the hover. I'm not sure the name in NeoVim, but I think we call that the floating terminal. Okay, so yeah, I can use the floating terminal for these. So it's working, and we continue. We continue our adventure to test the Swag Labs. Okay, let's now fill in mm, the form and submit. So to fill the form, we have different ways of doing it, of course. We can fill it by placeholder, by type, by data test. I would prefer data test because, contrary to other selectors, especially CSS selectors, it's actually an empty pattern. So I've seen a lot of people recommend that use of CSS selectors. What's happening? CSS selectors when you, I'm just checking if the font is big enough. So it seems to be good. So it's a use of CSS selectors when mm, doing test automation. That's an anti-pattern because CSS is used for styling and not the other way around. Therefore, a better way is to use this type of data test attributes, and if you don't have it in your project, maybe you can ask the developers, the front-end guys, to add it. It's not a problem. Actually, it's a best practice. It's nowadays even becoming a standard practice, and it's highly recommended. So we are going to continue with this. The first thing is for the username, and second is the password. Okay, let's to use it. We use the so you use the selectors. Let's just go on the Playwright official. So I've sometimes so you can even test Chrome extension, by the way, so it's very powerful. I'm not sure you could do it with Selenium. Get started. So right now we will just be going to writing the test. We have assertion, how to write from actions. So we have fill here, fill the form field. Okay, okay, we go on the fill. So it's just simple fill value, but we are going to actually, you can use it, you can fill it directly by um, fill directly. You have the item and you can put the value, because I think it's clearer when you do it like this. So here it's like we saw, it's data test, and then we have, well, we can't use the same username. Oh, it's not good. No problem. We can use where was I? We can use XP. See some brilliant Vim things. So right now I'm going to continue this video. I think we are going to have a second part because this video itself is becoming a bit long. So see you in the second part of this video.